Hello, welcome to Cinema Crusaders, that show where we look back into the distant past of 10 years ago or beyond to look at the movies of yesteryear and see how well they hold up today, whether they're still worth watching, whether they still have things to say to us in the here and now. And for today, we're going to be looking at Ocean's 11, not the 1960 some film with Frank Sinatra, although it is built on that, but the 2001 version by Steven Soderbergh that most people probably know, starring Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, and many, many others. And joining me on this one is Mike Nunnally. And I think we pretty much both tend to agree that this is one of the, if not the definitive heist film.
It's definitely up there for sure. For sure. I can't off the top of my head think of one that's better. How's that?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, because there have been many, and there are some that I really love, and I guess you could consider stuff like Inception up there as well, even though it's not like a typical heist movie. But I would say, like, in terms of conventional heists, Ocean 11 is kind of like the model.
Conventional heist, okay, but I honestly really liked the heist in Honor Among Thieves. I just did.
Yeah, that's another one that we're kind of about. Yeah, combination heist film and like D&D quest film.
Right. Love it.
Slash semi-comedic, yeah.
Yep.
It is really weird that like most of the really good heist films are like not heist films in the sense this movie is, which is interesting.
You know what I noticed about this movie that I never noticed in all the times I've watched it? And I've probably watched this movie at least 12 or 13 times.
Mm-hmm.
This movie could just as easily be played out in a serialized newspaper strip. In the little beats that it hits, like little segments, like boom, boom, boom. Like, we're going to do the job, blah, blah, blah. This is that's 1 week. We're gonna get the guys. This is the next week. You know what I mean? Like the beats and segments could easily play out that way.
Yeah, I mean there is definitely a sense like pulps and serials used to play out like that. There used to be like weekly like chapter segments in newspapers and things like that. It does feel that way at times, particularly when it's like you think the walls are closing in on Danny Ocean, then it's like nope, we had a plan all along. And oh, by the way, look at Terry Benedict looking like a fool.
Well, kind of like that. Yeah, I just meant, I guess in my head I was imagining like a Dick Tracy strip where that kind of a thing, like from that era. That was just in how the story itself was set up, not necessarily in how it was played out, but the segments that it was put in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think we should kind of discuss the basics of what happens, like for the 5 or so people who still haven't watched this. And I admit I was one of those 5 people before not too long ago. So this was one that like not too long ago I had really wanted to see, and I finally did. So it's like okay, we'll go ahead and do that. But to get into the plot, you have George Clooney playing Danny Ocean, the titular Ocean in this story, and he just got released from prison after getting caught. He got caught stealing. And
when I was 5.
Sorry. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So and he has a grudge against this guy named Terry Benedict because he stole his wife away from him. In addition to everything else. So, this is partly a revenge scheme and partly a robbery heist story. And that ends up being important because, or at least it seems that way, when he starts having friction with the other guys because, are his priorities really where he says they are? Or is it something else that he has in mind and he's trying to run away with Julia Roberts?
Honestly, and as a writer, you know this. Without the element of him trying to take vengeance, without the element of Tess in this story, the emotional stakes aren't there.
Yeah. It would just be, I'm out to get the money, or it would be just like, I don't like Terry Benedict, which frankly, Terry Benedict is a pretty horrible guy. I don't
right?
doing bad stuff to that dude.
Which we get to
But
see even more in part 2, by the way. But
yeah.
yeah.
I still need to go and see those. But
Uh,
yeah, as far as that goes, yeah. So a lot of it is the revenge aspect, but also the love story and him trying to win Tess back. And some of it is, this is very kind of Hollywoodized, but at least I can buy, at least to the extent, okay, yeah, he found a clever way of getting Tess away from Benedict, which that kind of worked for me. So yeah, so you have that whole element, and then the whole element of where does Danny Ocean's interests really lie? With the girl with the money, both to some extent, and we find out at the end of the movie.
That also provided a nice little third act conflict with the how it is where your loyalty is actually going to lie. He asked him that at the beginning. If you can't have one or the other, which one are you going to choose? You know what I mean? Like, and the answer was pretty clear.
Yeah. It's like, I think Danny's way of looking at it is you're thinking too small. Why have one or both? The other one when you can have both.
Right. I got an interesting thing to drop on you here. The character, shit, I'm drawing his blank on his name that Matt Damon played in the movie. Linus, yes. Okay. He was originally going to be played by Mark Wahlberg.
I can see why they would think that. Damon is a vastly better actor, though.
Yes, but I mean I honestly think that changing Linus would have changed the tone of the whole movie. Number two, if Mark Wahlberg had been in there, it would have been an entirely different performance.
Yeah, it would have been a different performance. It would have been a more wooden performance, probably. I mean, he doesn't have much range, and it has to be said. But but if you look at a guy like Damon, who's done all these movies, with Kevin Smith, all these movies with Christopher Nolan later on, he has been in The Martian. He's been all over the place. So he's done a lot of different roles, and he has a lot of range. And we see that. And we kind of see this is kind of where he was starting to come into his own. Especially, he was kind of lifted up by like having Clooney and Pitt right there. Like, you could kind of tell like this was an important point where he just kind of he was moving away like from where he was in like the late 90s and kind of really becoming more of his own actor at that point.
Right. That was something I think both him and Affleck kind of needed to do in their career, where they had done a series of comedy films with Kevin Smith, and they both wanted to show, look, I got more range, I can do other stuff, and they both kind of spread out from there.
And they both landed in iconic roles, Batman versus Jason Bourne, etc.
Speaking of cast, you got to check this out. They were picking on Julia Roberts the entire time. Okay, check this out. We're talking from the get-go, she was being teased. The offer to join the movie was sent by Danny Ocean. What's his name? Clooney, yes. The offer was sent by Clooney, and he sent her I want to say like the script or something like that, along with $20 and in an envelope. And the letter that came with it said, "I heard you're getting 20 per picture nowadays." And this is because she had recently started getting 20,000 per picture. So there's a little tease right from the get-go. As I understand it, the cast teased her the whole time. That while they were on set, were things like, okay, they would sometimes at the hotel they were staying at schedule 5 a.m. wake up calls when she didn't need to be on set until noon.
I mean, but I will say, like, you could tell this was a group of people who was having fun on this movie. It wasn't, okay, this is a job. They actually were like having a good time making it and having a good time hanging around with each other. I'm not suggesting this was malicious or anything. No. It seems like it was friendly teasing to me.
If you'll notice, though, even after the film was done, the teasing wasn't over. When you're getting the introductions to the people at the beginning, it says introducing Julia Roberts
Julia
as
Roberts.
Tess.
I was like that. I was like, what? I was just like, what in the world is this? Because even by like 2001, she was a well-known actress. She was already very prominent by then, if I remember right.
It was all just part of the let's tease Julia Roberts on set and apparently afterwards thing. But apparently she was a good spirit because she came back for the sequel.
She did. She did. Absolutely did. And I think she's still kind of invested in this series. I mean, I think it's one of those things where you can sort of tell like they became not exactly like a family, but some of those kind of dynamics that you see between actors sometimes where they're like a screen family. There's a little bit of that. I could kind of tell.
I have noticed in a lot of pictures, and usually by the director's call, he wants the people in the cast to gain a certain chemistry naturally, even outside of playing their parts. He wants them to have that kind of thing going on, or not have it at all if that will affect the script.
And I think that definitely came across with Clooney as Danny Ocean and Brad Pitt as Rusty Ryan. Like those two have a very, very natural chemistry. It absolutely it's fun to watch those two bounce off each other, especially with as charged as the dialogue is. The dialogue is often very, very clever, very well written, particularly in the hands of those two guys. And they just like the whole thing of like Brad Pitt picking up Danny at the end of the film. It's like, we should get Rusty a girl. Yeah, there's a women's prison down a few blocks.
Right.
Yeah, just lines like that. And the whole thing, and I will say, like the whole moment where Brad Pitt was saying absolutely nothing, and Clooney was just sitting there. Do we need one more? Do we need one more? Yeah, let's get one more. And it's like, and you can sort of tell, like, the reason it works is because the chemistry is such where you can believe that Clooney is just reading him like non-verbally and saying, this is really what he's saying. The kind of connection you have with people you've known forever. And that absolutely came across.
The chemistry was not on the same level as those two. But for the brief time they were on screen together, Topher Grace and Brad Pitt seemed to work really well off of each other.
I did like that, especially the whole thing where it's like, I want to do this tax write-off thing, and I want to write you a check, and I just the look that Brad Pitt gives him, and then it's just like, we'll just do cash. I mean, that Pitt, I just don't think gets enough credit for being able to say a lot with very little in terms of dialogue.
He's really good. He's really good. He's actually probably in my top 10 as far as actors. I've seen him do some excellent performances.
I didn't used to like him when he started out. But then he just kept doing banger role after banger role, from 12 Monkeys to Seven, to all these other things that he's done over the years. And it's just, you can't really deny it. I mean, he's a classic.
There was, let me think. There was, there is one other thing.
Life is good, my friend. Hope you're having a good Sunday.
Xiaobo Quinn, the Grease Man, the guy who played the Grease Man.
Yep.
Okay. This was actually his first and only picture. What's interesting about this, and this is the reason I bring it up, he got the role in almost exactly the same way as he got his job on Ocean's 11. They saw him performing. He was literally a performer in an act, and they saw him performing and approached him about the role. I mean, that's literally how it went.
So it was easy to write him in then. It's like, we were just going to have him play himself. No acting involved. He's just going to do what he does. And he doesn't have to say very much. He just has to go and do the job. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And I have to say, like, I really do think this is the definitive gathering the team scene is the one where they gather the heist crew. They say so much about these characters in very little space within, and they had to, because you're dealing with 11 characters and we need to get to know at least most of them, well enough to root for them. And so it's like you need to at least connect to Pitt and Clooney, maybe Linus to a certain extent. But then, but you not only do you get that, you get the Malloy twins, and you kind of get the sense that they're these two guys are kind of messed up. They're fun characters. They're kind of messed up. You get Livingston. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Just real quick on those two. As I understand, the screenwriter,
Mhm.
based the brother's arguments on arguments he had with his brother.
I believe it. It comes across. Yeah. I mean, there's just certain stories where you just can tell that they have siblings. The writers have siblings,
Right.
or at least they understand what sibling dynamics are like. And if you want a really good example of that, watch Supernatural, or at least the early seasons of it, because that absolutely gets sibling dynamics down like perfectly. And it did feel like that in this movie.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean to cut you off. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, like, so you get, I really liked Basher's intro really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are, you get this guy who is known mainly, I think, for, so you get Terrence Howard, I think, no, it wasn't Don Cheadle, who we mainly remember as Rhodey, and running around with this British accent, blowing up walls, being the explosives expert.
Interesting thing about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Interesting thing about him, number one, I guess he went to the UK for a little bit and tried to pick up a British accent. What he did in that movie is apparently abhorrent to most actual British people. His accent was absolutely horrible, and apparently he decided to, you know what, I'm going to invest some actual time and energy in this for the sequels, and that's why it gets better later on. Mm-hmm. But one more thing, he wanted the actor Don Cheadle wanted a top billing along with Clooney and Pitt. And when they wouldn't give it to him, he said, fine, you don't get to credit me at all. So that is why his name doesn't even appear in the credits.
I mean, it's like, he's not on the level of those two. The only one who I think could make that claim in that cast is Damon. And this was still like before he became Matt Damon.
Right.
He was still like he was still paying his dues at that point. But he's the only one who I think could have made that crank clever, and of course Julia Roberts, of course.
Actually, the entire cast took less money to bring down the budget so they could make the film.
That is a sign that this is a project they really believe in, and it comes across. Like, I just think that but again, like, you get all these characters that are like established really quick. All the basics are there. You get a sense of personality really quick. You get a sense of where they stand with the with Clooney and Pitt really quick.
Right.
And they just get through all that, and then they just move on, and then get into the plot, get into what the heist is, and how they're starting to go through the con artistry that they're going to get into the vault and break it out.
Let me talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
I lost it. Sorry, I lost it. I had it there for a second, and I was trying to hold on to it, and I lost it.
No problem. So what I was just going to say is like a lot of what they actually show. They don't have Clooney and the 11 succeed by the villains being stupid, or by them making mistakes, or by them like exploiting, really obvious plot holes. It's always, okay, how would you defend this kind of money in Las Vegas? What would be realistic? What would a competent manager do? And then they find ways around those things that are clever, that are believable, and that are telegraphed.
They also
that's really clever.
They also also remove the I've got it. I've got it now. They also remove sympathy from the casino owner, as he is basically a gangster.
Yes. And that was absolutely brilliant. They needed a villain who was really horrible, somebody who you really are rooting for this group of criminals to succeed against. And Terry Benedict is absolutely that kind of guy. And they established it very quickly, like from a couple of places. Like they established that, this guy is extremely vindictive. And it's not that he'll just throw you in jail or whatever if you try to steal from him or try to cross him in any way. He will destroy you. And he will absolutely crush you and make sure that you have no life left.
He kind of has that Roman policy where if they take you out, they take out your family too.
Yeah, it's absolutely scorched earth, and that really is what kind of turns you against this guy. In addition, that this guy's a very cold, calculating kind of person. You don't get to see any kind of real emotional weight or depth to him. It's always this very surface polish. And it's almost like he's a total sociopath, which he probably is.
Honestly, I think Garcia does that really, really well. He played that part very well.
Yeah.
Garcia just has a presence about him with his characters. And you didn't have to have, you believed all that stuff about how he was a gangster and stuff and how he would do those things. It was just how he carried himself. He was one of those people that didn't need to yell or raise his voice. Simply talking was enough. That kind of thing. He carried that. Yeah.
He is not being like theatrical. He's not like ha 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 ha. His approach is very cool, businessman. This is just business sort of policy, and it's just, I really don't care what happens to you after I utterly destroy you. This is just how I do business, and I think that kind of makes him in many ways worse.
Right. To your point earlier, though, it is my opinion that God damn it. I keep holding on to it, waiting for you to stop, and then I lose it. This is twice now.
I need to stop talking. Let you have a chance to speak.
Yeah, I got it now. I really appreciate the writing in how you talked about the introduction of the characters there. The trick in introducing characters in a story from a writing perspective is you want just enough emotional investment in them. You want just enough familiarity with them so that you go, okay, I have a connection with that character, or I understand that character on some level, and move on. Yes. To be able to do that without breaking up flow and do it as smoothly as they did, that is what I think my man Steve here is talking about when he says that is textbook in how to do that intro. You get just enough to do exactly that for each character.
Yeah. We know why Clooney's involved. We get the emotional investment. Like, okay, he wants his wife back. It's not just about the money, although it is about revenge. It is about money. But it's also about him getting his wife back. Right. We see very quickly, like with Rusty, it's like he's bored. He's making plenty of money. Probably, he's doing okay for himself, but he needs that intellectual challenge, and that's the one thing that Danny Ocean is very good at giving him. Is giving him a job that excites him, right? And ever since then, you see, like throughout this whole thing, Rusty is excited. Like he is having fun, coming up with these cons and all of these things.
You saw that scene at the bar when he's just sitting there with a drink against his face.
Yeah.
How was your night? It was the worst hour of my life. What was it? Yeah. I'm running away with your wife.
With your wife. that was just so clever. And it's just like, and that's him also. It's like he absolutely trolls everybody. And then and then just the little tidbits that even the actors bring into it, like, he's Brad Pitt always eating. I can't have a discussion of this movie without going into Brad Pitt that always eating. With the idea that that Pitt came up with, which is basically he's always on the move. He's always on the move, so he never sits down for
Right.
5 seconds. So he's always bringing little snacks and things like that with him, and he's eating them.
I understand that that kind of thing can actually wreak havoc on a guy.
It actually did in this movie.
In the scene where Julia Roberts is coming down the stairs, they had to retake that like 40 times, which means Brad Pitt, one after another, ate like 40 shrimp.
Yes, and he actually threw up later. Is my understanding? Yeah,
I didn't hear about the throwing up later, but that
yeah,
makes sense.
I've seen reports about that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is a man suffering for his art,
right? Although I haven't heard of anybody suffering for their art as much as Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. That was hardcore. When I find something that beats that, I'll let you know.
that is hardcore, yeah. Or Heath Ledger as the Joker. There's just something about that character that just seems to bring out like the craziest in the method actors.
Right.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead then. Is there anything else on the writing side before we move on?
Let me see. Oh, there is. I want to see if you caught this. I'm betting that you did, but you might have missed it. Did you happen to notice the name of a certain Marvel hero in the movie?
I think I may have missed that one. What did you catch?
When Saul was being the Gerber guy, the German guy, was walking through the casino, the guys go, Saul, who is that? I'm Bucky Buchanan, man. Don't you remember me?
Because Bucky's real name is James Buchanan Barnes. So yeah, that is okay. I got that.
But according to what I looked up, the writer intentionally put that as a reference to that character.
And during the rise of superhero movies at that time, because this was 2001 where X-Men was coming out.
Right.
But
that's not one. Cool. That's not one anybody outside of Marvel would have caught at that time. Not Bucky Buchanan, not then.
Now yes, absolutely, because Bucky's assaulting now, but before no. All right. Are there any? Let's see. Are there any performances that stuck out for you? Because there were a lot of really good ones.
Not in particular. I mean, I don't. It was one of those like everybody did well, but I mean nobody on the cast brought anything down at any point. Everybody was performing up here.
Yeah. So I guess you would say it's a success as an ensemble, not because any one actor like put more or less into it.
Yeah, I don't like. Well, like I said, just with the Linus character, you replace him with Mark Wahlberg, the entire tone of the movie goes.
Yeah. I have to say, like Damon, I will say, did a really good job in playing all of these different characters that he was playing. Not just the main Linus character, but also like the guy that was from the gambling commission that he was acting as.
Right.
And here he was like acting like he was a racist in front of Bernie Mac so they could fool Benedict. And it was just, I just thought that was just like, oh my God, it actually
I kind of like Bernie Mac. They might as well call it White Jack.
Yeah, White Jack.
He's like, oh God.
I don't know if that was improvised or if that was in the script.
To my knowledge, the only line Bernie Mac improvised there was the "You want me to dance on the table" one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does feel like something he could have improvised, but I just don't know. I can't.
It definitely sounds like a Bernie Mac improvisation. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is like how clever some of the writing is. It's like even the improvisations actually make the movie better, the ones that are there. And yeah, I think Clooney and Pitt obviously are like top of their game. And I think a lot of it, even there, it's more like, yeah, they're really good, but it's not really good because of them alone. It's that dynamic that they have. Exactly. It's Clooney being the big thinker and this really, charming bastard. and Rusty Ryan, being this bored as F, criminal who is just like, yeah, I'm calling you out on all of your garbage because I
I
know how full of crap you are in
I
the way that
got
only a
the
best friend can do.
exactly. I got the impression there was definitely a mutual respect. I mean, you talk
Mm-hmm.
about Danny being intelligent, having made up the
Mm-hmm.
plan and everything, but clearly he views
Mm-hmm.
Rusty as an equal when he's going through that
Mm-hmm.
thing like so we got enough people, right? Do you,
Yeah.
do you think we should get somebody else?
We,
You
yeah,
think we
let's go
should get
get one
somebody
more.
else? You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that that right there showed me that he considered him an equal there.
Yeah, and they absolutely like on and off screen. Absolutely, that shows,
Yeah.
and that's really like the beauty of this. It really is the cast dynamics, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Soderbergh really thought through like, okay, none of these characters have time to really be that centric, except for maybe Danny and Rusty. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the dynamic so good that you can't look away,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's a really clever and valid way to do it.
Bob Dylan said, "You can be really good looking, or you could be ugly. You just got to be something people don't want to look away from."
And which, oddly enough, was exactly what Pitt was trying to say to Linus when he was trying to be the gambling commissioner guy.
Kind of, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was kind of like over elaborate just for the sake of comedy, but yeah, that was basically what he was saying.
for sure. Let me
All
see
right.
here. Oh,
Yeah.
just as a little
Yep.
side note here,
Mm-hmm.
for the sequel, you actually get to see Bennett go after them,
I figured that would be the likely next step. I mean, we already started to see hints at that at the very end of the movie, the 6 months later.
right? Let's see. That is well, this now that's all the really interesting stuff I have in my notes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. We can kind of move on as far as technical stunts, that kind of thing.
Well, one thing on the production side, this movie has a very, I don't know how, there's no other word for it. It has a like Billy D. Williams cool kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? Where you with it, and I think this is in large part because of the jazz music that they use for
Mm-hmm.
the soundtrack. You just picture that smooth kind of walking in the bar, picking it has
It's this
smooth all over it.
it's this very 1960s flavor. Like
Yeah.
they're remade a movie that went back to the 1960s, trying to recapture the flavor of the Rat Pack.
Mm-hmm.
Which was guys like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., those kinds of people.
Right.
Trying to, so they had to get like the coolest guys in the world, to one up that, and they did exactly that. And a lot of the visuals from it, because it's Las Vegas, that is iconic, like 60s sort of aesthetic.
Especially for
Especially
60.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially for 60s. And if you're a Fallout fan, that totally leans into that in New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why Vegas is like really such a great setting for things like that. You
Mm-hmm.
get the desert. You get these casinos and all these flashy neon lights in the city of sin, and just that atmosphere, just with the setting and the real locations. And then you add that the music that evocative of the period, um, you know, dun, dun,
Right.
all those kinds of notes that you sort of hear with the soundtrack. The soundtrack does absolutely, evoke that time frame. There was the moment where Saul was being approached by Rusty, and a lot of that, that sells like the horse races, is the soundtrack, because it's really not anything going on the front that is that captivating, but you feel immersed because of the music playing in the background and the way it's shot and the kind of setting that you're in.
Right. Let me look something up. There was something.
Mhm.
There was something specifically. Yes. Okay. Screenwriter Ted Griffin was inspired by The Magnificent Seven from
Mhm.
1960 and The
Mhm.
Great Escape from
Mhm.
1963. He
Mhm.
liked the way the men in those movies had a shorthand with each other that only they understood. And that is all over the Ocean's movies right there.
Yes, absolutely. And this is again like my whole feeling like this is a 60s movie in the 2000s
Right?
in a lot of ways. It's intentionally that stylistic sort of approach. And yeah, you absolutely see that kind of dynamic, especially with Clooney and Pitt. And with like a lot of these people that have known each other forever. You get that with Saul and a lot of the older members of the crew. Basher, the two brothers, like all of that really feels like this could have been made 40 years before it was.
More than that, in my opinion, simply having these common colloquialisms between them, that
Mm-hmm.
this is each job, each type of job, each type of con has a different name in it.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens there, and I apologize. I go on writing a lot. I'm a writer. I can't help it. What that does is it actually builds a world. You get
Mm-hmm.
it's like in John Wick. You get
Yes.
a sense that there is a larger world where these things are common. These are common phrases that actually mean jobs. To, like, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
not only says that these people have a bond, it gives a sense of a larger world just by using it.
Yeah, and with Wick, I think where we see that most is with the concierge, and particularly like with Winston and Lance Redding, I think his name was that the character he played. Like you get the sense that there were relationships that really were part of that world and involved in like, and when you find out about things like the High Table, and you
Mhm.
find like hear about things about being excommunicado, all those particular rules that the John Wick universe has, you really get a sense where the relationships are tied in with the world building rules, and that really feels that way here too.
Mhm. Mhm. I really love world building. Is not an easy thing to do as a writer. People might think it is, but it is not. When
It is a long process.
I really appreciate subtle things like that accomplish so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that I mean, I was just really impressed with how they did that.
Yeah, and at the same time, I really feel like they did honor the movie, at least spiritually, like the previous movie. I feel like they did honor Sinatra. They did honor like the flavor of the original Ocean's 11 while doing their own thing with it. I mean, it is a reimagining that works, which in a world where we're tired out of remakes and things like this is actually a remake that was good. And not
Mhm.
only was good, would actually probably improved on the original. And that's very, very rare. But this movie actually succeeded in doing that. And I wish there were more movies that did that.
I have got to take your word on that. You have watched
Mm-hmm.
way more movies from the 60s than I have.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do know that I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed how they I like the setup of the whole thing. I loved how they did the sequels. This is one of my more favorite
Mm-hmm.
franchises.
What do you think of the sequels? Because I actually don't have any comment on those yet. I haven't. I need to go and watch those.
The second one was really good and felt like a very natural continuation of the first one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The third one was more of just a straight heist movie and a little bit of vengeance, but it's more of a we're going to help somebody else out rather than somebody in the core. In that
Mm-hmm.
core, it wasn't Daniel Ocean or Rusty that we were helping here. This was, I want to say it was it the guy who owned the casinos in not Benedict, the guy with the robe in his underwear.
Yeah, the other guy,
Yeah.
Ruben was his name.
It was to help him. He like gets cancer or something like that. Or anyway,
Yeah.
but it's a different kind of movie. But it totally fits into the whole thing. But only the second one feels like a natural, like this is where it flows. I mean, the first movie ends with Benedict's guys going after them as they're driving away. I mean,
Yeah, and honestly, it's like this is the kind of franchise you can only do so many episodes of because otherwise, it's like, oh, why are you going and doing another heist? Like, what did you do with the last money that you pilfered from this other douchebag? So, yeah, I think after a while, it is one of those they really needed to stop. I think three is like straining credulity, but at least I get it because it's like trilogies are a thing in Hollywood.
I honestly wanted to like that. What was it? Ocean's 9, the one with Sandra Bullock in it with the thing.
Eight was it?
Was it Ocean's 8? Yeah, that was it. Ocean's
Yeah,
8. I wanted to like that. But I honestly don't think that was that movie being bad was the fault of the actors. I just don't
probably
think
wasn't.
that they were given a good enough script to work with, or the director changed it significantly
Yeah.
somehow. But that could have been much better than it was, and it just flopped hardcore.
Yeah, I heard it didn't do well, and they've been talking about doing new ones, but I mean, the problem is, it's like people like the original set such a high bar that you really need something really amazing to live up to that, and it doesn't seem like they've done that since two at least.
Yeah, the Ocean's 8 ended up feeling like a desperate studio grab rather than a decent
Yeah,
contribution.
yeah, that sounds fair. Do we have any other things we want to add on this movie? Any other comments or anything else in your notes that you wanted to bring up?
Let us see. Let us see.
Mm-hmm.
Uh one interesting thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I know about this more from being from a horror writer's perspective, but uh did you notice they did something that a lot of writers like to do in their story, and that is isolate the people in their story. Having
Mm-hmm.
this story take place in Las Vegas, like the guy says, even
Mm-hmm.
if you get through all of that, you're still in the middle of the freaking desert. You know what I
Yes,
mean? They're
exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
it.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I will say they did such a good job in showing like what the danger was. I love the flashback and then them like the three heists that failed, especially the last one where it's like the guy getting shot by the cops to the tune of "Take My Breath Away" was funny
Yeah.
as heck. That was hilarious.
That
I
definitely
mean,
felt 80s for sure.
it did, it did, it absolutely did. So yeah.
But
On
still,
that note,
but where the heck are you gonna go? He's running down the money, running down the street with money in his hands like this. Like what?
he's in
You're not
fight
gonna
or flight
hide
mode.
anywhere.
He's in fight or flight mode. He was just thinking about getting away. I don't think he put any thought into exactly how he was going to get away.
Oh,
Yeah, so yeah, but it was just hilarious.
it was.
Yeah, literally taking his breath away, like because he won't be breathing.
I appreciate that. You don't normally have a morbid sense of humor, so I'm gonna give you extra points for that.
It was just my first thought when I saw that. I'm like, yeah, that was clever because when I was trying to figure out why did you choose that for that particular tune, but it was funny, morbidly funny.
I didn't put that together.
Mhm.
I didn't put that connection together at all. So I think that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, it's great. I love it. This is how clever this movie is. Like it is very, very cleverly written, smartly written in the way
Mhm.
60s films would have been. Yeah, so all of that's there. Final thoughts, unless you have something more to bring in.
Um, no, not necessarily. As far as a review goes, I think we've covered a lot of this. The acting and the production were all good.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
story, the writing, excellent. I'm gonna give this a well, I feel like I need to categorize it though.
Sure.
As a heist movie, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10.
Okay, fair.
But I can't give it a 10 out of 10 like a movie just for anybody across the board.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to fit.
Okay. So what are you thinking?
So we need an across the board number. Well, if it's an across the board number, I might have to drop it to like 9.5.
That's where I am too, and the only reason I'm saying that is because I kind of feel like Tess getting back with Danny at the end of the movie was a little forced. leaving Benedict, absolutely that worked. But having her end up with Danny just seemed like, okay, this is a Hollywood ending. This is not like how things would actually necessarily go, especially given the issues that they had with their marriage. It's something they could have dealt with it in like the second movie if they had wanted to.
Even with the whole thing Danny set up with how Benedict chose the money over her.
That's why I buy her leaving Benedict. I don't necessarily buy her necessarily going back to Danny. Like it's not an either or. She could have decided to say, yeah, you two both suck. I'm going to go over here.
Right.
She doesn't do that. She goes like back to Danny because that's the Hollywood ending.
You two both suck. Do you happen to have Rusty's number? No.
Yeah. So on that basis alone, it's going to be like a 9.5 on that basis. But in terms of it being a heist movie, it's absolutely a 10.
Yeah, definitely. I you know what? I watched a few other heist movies recently, just comparatively, and this one is definitely up there as far as heist movies go.
Yeah. I mean, it's a well-executed plan. You have a villain that makes sense. You have like challenges that are set that are developed and make sense. The world is well developed. You have really good characters. You've got the best intro setup of all time. And you have like two of the best leads ever. I mean,
I would say the best ensemble setup of all time.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, just character setups of all time, is from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. That one is a little stronger because you have two characters to focus on.
That's why I put the ensemble on an ensemble level. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I wish more gathering the team type of moments were done that way. There are very few that are that sharp, that are that clever, that are that economical.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So I guess with that, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there. Do you want to talk about Scorn?
Sure. Scorn is a Norse grimdark fantasy. It is currently available on Amazon. It's free to read on Kindle Unlimited, $1.99 on Kindle, and it's available in paperback and hardback. Check it out.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope we had a good discussion, and I hope you go and watch this movie because this is definitely a good movie to revisit. Next time, we'll be looking into The Game, directed by David Fincher and starring Michael Douglas. And I have to say, I like David Fincher as a director, but I haven't watched as many films from him as I would like. So I'm looking forward to getting into that one. And we will be doing Gangs of New York for St. Patrick's Day, or at least that's the plan. So provided we get back on our schedule, that's where it's going to go. Nice. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you. And until next time, this is Steve and Mike signing out.
We are still live.